Am I the bum for being angry at the airline staff for giving my paid seats away? This happened 2 weeks ago. I 35M was on a holiday with my wife 32F. While returning we had an 8-hour flight ahead of us. I normally plan ahead on selecting the seats and meal plans so there's no hassle. Since we didn't have check-in luggage and everything was in small carry-on for both of us, we decided to skip the queue and went to the automated kiosk to print our boarding card. When I printed it out I noticed that the seats were not the one I paid for. Moreover, they separated my wife and I by 7 rows, and what's worse, both were middle seats. I was confused at this point and went to the check-in counter. They told me they made the switch because some couple with a small kid asked them to be seated together. I tried being civil with them by explaining that I paid for those seats and they can't just give it away. However, they kept insisting that they don't have any seats to spare. So I basically held up the line. There were only 2 counters, one was closed and I was on the other one, by saying that I'll consider those seats they allocated if they refund me the charges I paid for the seats. That caused a big argument for some reason because they said it's against some policy of theirs. This went on till the ground manager came in 20 minutes later. By that time the line was getting impatient and one guy came up to my face telling me to move, in which I told him whether he really wants to try his luck in a heavily guarded and police-protected airport with so many cameras around. He backed up thankfully. The ground manager was nice and apologetic for the staff's behavior and basically gave me a free upgrade to business class and 20% discount vouchers to use for next time. While stepping out of the line I could hear the murmurs and annoyance of the passengers. What's interesting is that they still didn't have the second counter opened up to ease the passengers' flow. So was I the bum for asking what I think was rightfully mine? Am I the bum for not telling my roommate I own the house? Brief backstory: about a year ago my last remaining grandparent passed away and my father inherited all assets, including a house. I had been saving for a nice down payment, at least 50%, so I could have a lower mortgage payment each month, thus allowing me to save money for travel. When my father inherited this house, which he had no interest in moving into yet, he offered to sell it to me for well below market rate, with the caveat that he and my stepmother could eventually move into the basement apartment. I agreed, because they're both incredible people who are not at all invasive and would give me my privacy if they lived there. So he sold it to me and I moved in. Present day, about 6 months ago I started considering renting out the finished basement apartment. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a living room, and a small kitchenette, sink, fridge, microwave, but no oven. A friend of mine said his brother was moving to my city and needed a place. He's a brand new teacher and doesn't make great money, so he needed a place that wasn't expensive. I offered to let him rent my basement for way less than market rate, $650, which would include utilities. He readily accepted and signed a year-long lease. Well, a few days ago he asked if he could start paying the landlord directly instead of giving me rent money each month. I was under the impression my friend had told him I own the house, so I was confused and I told him we don't have a landlord and that I'm the owner. He got very upset and screamed at me for lying for over 6 months and taking advantage of him by making him pay so much in rent. For the record, an apartment similar to the one in my house would be well over twice what he's paying me, closer to 3 times for something as nice. He asked how much of my mortgage he's covering and I said, why does that matter? You're getting a nice, quiet place to live, access to a full kitchen and laundry room, and you're paying an amount that you can afford. My personal finances aren't really a factor here. He stormed out of the room and slammed the basement door. He's still not speaking to me. I asked a few other friends and some family members, and most said I'm wrong for having him cover my mortgage payments. Only a few say I'm in the right. So am I the bum for having my roommate cover $650 of my $775 a month mortgage? ETA, he has a lease so I won't be evicting him over this alone. If he does any damage or becomes hostile, I'll look at the eviction process. But for now, he will remain unless he chooses to break the lease, which I'd allow him to do if he wants. He also didn't bother to read the lease before signing. The lease clearly states I'm the homeowner. I didn't trick him or keep info from him. He simply didn't read what he was signing. I didn't get the house for almost free as some people choose to believe. My father sold it to me for about 75% of its value, more or less as an advance on rent he and my stepmother will pay when they move in here in a few years. We already agreed they won't pay monthly rent but will contribute to utilities and groceries at that time. Am I the bum for telling my mom that I don't give a frick about my autistic brother? My 16F parents didn't have much time for me after my brother 9M was born, and it got even worse after he was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. My dad is rarely home and my mom is always busy with my brothers, so neither of them have time for me. I've known my best friend Rachel since we were in kindergarten. Her mom is the nicest person I've ever met. Rachel and I played soccer, but my mom was rarely able to take me to practices and games, so Rachel's mom would always take me. I used to be in the school choir and my parents went to like one performance during the 6 years I did it. Rachel's mom was at every performance for me even though Rachel wasn't in choir. Those are just a few examples, but Rachel's mom has always been there for me when my parents weren't available. My mom never really cares what I'm doing unless she needs me to watch my brothers, so I spend a lot of time at Rachel's house. Once I spent a whole weekend there and my mom didn't even call to ask where I am. Rachel's family go on a lot of vacations and they often take me. They're going to Disney World during Thanksgiving break and invited me to come with them. I asked my dad and he said I could go. They've already planned and booked everything and I'm really excited. I've been to Disneyland once with my family and it was horrible. My brother threw a huge tantrum on the first day because he wanted to go on the rides alone and sit between mom and dad, so I had to stay in the hotel most of the time. My brother found out that I'm going to Disney and he had a really big meltdown. He loves Disney and he was mad that I was going without him. My mom told me that she was planning to go to Washington to visit my grandparents. My dad didn't say anything about that, so I'm pretty sure she just made that up to stop me from going. And even if they are going, I don't want to. I don't want to go on a 14-hour car ride with my brother, and I'm pretty sure when we get there they're either going to make me stay with him while they go out or take him out and leave me alone in the hotel. I also wouldn't be allowed to go out on my own. She told me that I need to think about my brother and his feelings are more important because he's younger and autistic. I told her that I honestly don't give a frick about my brother's feelings and I wish he was never born. He was there when I said all this and he's been crying and screaming for the last 3 hours and it's giving me a headache. My mom has been trying to calm him down and my dad said that he'll still let me go because he understands I'm frustrated. He also grew up with a neurodivergent siblings, so he knows what it's like. My mom said that I'm a rude, ungrateful brat and I need to be kinder to my brother. Am I the bum hole? Edit, I don't know if this is important, but we live in California and went to Disneyland in Anaheim. I'm going to Disney World in Orlando with Rachel's family. I think my brother does somewhat understand that Disney World has more fun stuff, which makes him more mad. I didn't tell him anything and I'm pretty sure my dad didn't either, so either he overheard us talking or my mom told him. Edit 2, I was 11 when the Disneyland incident happened. My brother was mostly nonverbal then, but when we were about to leave the hotel he started screaming and saying no while pointing at me. My parents calmed him down briefly, but when we got on our first ride he started screaming again, so my parents told me to go back to the hotel. I snuck out the second day and went on like 2 rides before I ran into my parents and they told me to back because they didn't want me to be out there alone. Edit 3, I don't blame my brother for what happened at Disneyland. He was 4. I blame my parents for not finding a better way to handle the situation. He was nonverbal at that time, but he can talk now. He isn't high functioning exactly, but he does understand what's going on around him. He has basic life skills, but can't be on his own for very long. Am I the bum hole for buying a peanut butter cake even though my boyfriend is allergic? My 22F boyfriend, 24M, always told me he was allergic to peanuts. I don't know where he gets that from because his mom's always saying that he isn't, but, you know, I never wanted to risk giving him some and have him get an allergic reaction, so I just took his words for it. Yesterday, I went to a bakery before work and bought myself a peanut butter cake to eat after lunch. My boyfriend surprised me at work during my break and wanted us to eat lunch together. I told him okay. After we were done eating, my boyfriend saw the bakery bag with the cake and asked if he could have some. I said no as it was a peanut butter cake and I didn't want him to have an allergic reaction. That's when he got mad at me for buying this even though he's allergic to it. He said I wasn't being respectful. I told him that I bought it because we weren't supposed to see each other until tonight, 6 p.m., so I'd had time to brush my teeth and stuff, and that I wasn't planning on eating it in front of him. He said that I shouldn't have bought it at all, no matter when we were supposed to see each other, because it was selfish, and as his girlfriend, I shouldn't be eating what I know he can't eat. I think it's not fair that I shouldn't eat something that I like because he's allergic to it. Obviously, I don't eat that when I'm with him, but we weren't supposed to see each other the whole afternoon, so I thought it'd be a good occasion to have a peanut butter cake. Am I the bum hole? Maybe it was selfish to buy something I know he's allergic to,